The entire range of human endeavors relies on concentration. Shin Zan Young.
Welcome to another show, folks, of the Wanna Be Mindful podcast with your hosts here, Mr. Sean and Jared. We are ready to come at you with another starstruck, crazy, wonderful, seraphic episode. Talk to the folks, Sean.
That's absolutely correct. Me and my dear friend Jared, we don't claim to be experts on what we talk about on this podcast. We're simply just explorers wandering around this big, beautiful world, trying to find answers, trying to ask questions, trying to get thought-provoking conversations rolling. And that's why this podcast is here, and it's created for self-improvement, self-development, bettering yourself, reaching your true potential in life. Because what else is a great point of life besides reaching your true potential?
I totally agree with that. Why settle for comfortability? Why settle for mediocre relationships, a mediocre life, mediocre habits, mediocre money, mediocre thoughts, when you can transcend all of those to another level? And that's what we like talking about.
Because at the end of the day, life is short and you only got one. And my dear friend Jared over here told me that most people die when they're 25 years old. What do you mean by that, Jared? Elaborate if you could.
Well, that's not exactly the quote.
Just say it. Say the quote then. God.
I don't know if I really remember the full quote.
But you know what I mean?
No, like you live till you're 75, but you die at 25. And the meaning behind that is basically once you hit that certain age, like 25, and you have a house per se, a stable job, you start having a family, and then you just start going into this life of mediocrity and comfortability. And when really that should be the time that you're striving for growth still, even though you have a family, even though when you have a stable job and then you got to provide for that family, it doesn't mean you can settle down for comfortability. And even at that point, you still have responsibilities. And I can't come from a place of experience having a family because I don't have one. So either way, that's still the essence behind it. Is we don't want to stop growing ourselves. We want to always strive, have the mindset that you're going to never stop learning and growing until you die, until 80, 90 years old. And then when you're old, that old hag, that's when you can settle down, be comfortable, and I guess, wait to die if that's that toots your horn. But yeah, that's the essence behind it.
Well said. So, folks, I hope you learned a little lesson there from Dr. Jared, world-class philosopher in training.
Yeah. So how about let me ask you a question then.
Shoot.
What's a time that you were not being very mindful? So you made a mistake, maybe got in a car accident, you maybe made fun of somebody's, I don't know, you made fun of somebody's disability. I don't know if you'd ever do that. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I'm not accusing you of anything, but it's a time that you weren't being very mindful. Because we like to talk about what being mindful looks like, but what's something that, when you haven't been very mindful?
When I personally haven't been mindful. Sean.
Yeah.
All right. This is a great question.
Yeah.
And to all the folks
I
out
mean,
there.
nothing too graphic. We don't want to scare the viewers.
I'm not afraid to say what I need to say, Jared.
All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and let it rip. Basically, a time that I can remember, because my memory is a little hazy nowadays, of where I was not very mindful at all, and I sort of regret it. It's probably the time where, this kid on my block asked me to play basketball with him, on his outside little basketball hoop around his house. And I declined. I declined in a very disrespectful way. And this kid
Were you like, no, you're ugly?
No, I didn't insult him,
Oh,
but I think by just declining insulted him because he did not have any friends and he did look up to me. So it was a very not mindful moment. Although I was 13 years old, still, I still remember it, so it has an impact.
yeah. Yeah.
That's a
I mean,
moment for me.
clearly.
So go ahead, Jared. I answered. Now I want you to tell us a time, more recent too, if you can, the most
Yeah.
recent time that you were not mindful.
Well, this one comes, it's not the most recent, but it definitely comes to my mind, is this time that I was driving. My job had to do with driving. I was a professional driver. I'm not going to say what I did for the professional driving, but I did drive and make money from it. Anyhow, I was driving one day and I started the habit of watching football games while I drove. It was not being very mindful. And so one time I was watching a football game, had it on my steering wheel, looked down, I was making a turn. I look up from the turn, truck right in front of me. Boom, slash. Turn the wheel, last possible second. Didn't put a scratch on the car. But I was like, man, I got to stop watching football games while I drive. It's going to cost me my life one
It
day.
increases your chances of death.
Yeah, exactly.
Crash.
But yeah, that was one time I wasn't being very mindful, and
Wow.
I don't regret it. I certainly don't regret it because watching football while driving, while getting paid, come on, pretty good time. But
But do you
is
don't
it a
recommend
healthy lifestyle?
you don't
I
recommend
don't
that
recommend it.
to
Only
the
for the most,
viewers?
only the most talented of drivers. Which, if you think you're talented, if you say yourself you're talented, then you're probably not. So I would recommend against it. But that was a time of me, not being very mindful.
I think the viewers got a good look at the dark side of Jared because that is
I mean, that's not
exponentially irresponsible. A
yeah.
terrible example to set for children. You really shocked the folks here today, Jared.
I guess so. So it's a little severe. It's pretty severe, but
It is, but you're aware that it wasn't mindful, and I'm glad you
yeah,
shared with us today.
yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, that's just surprising to me that your first thing that you thought of was when you were 13 years old. That probably really does haunt you.
Not that much, actually. It's the first time I thought about it in 13 years.
I doubt that, but it is still kind of crazy though. So, anyways, mindfulness, stories of mindfulness, of not being mindful. Should we churn gears here to stories of being mindful?
No, we shan't.
I agree.
What we shall do is talk about those gosh darn cold showers, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to change your life. Jared, take it away.
Take a piping cold shower now, and you will reap the benefits for life. If you start the habit of taking a cold shower every day, you wake up, you're groggy, you're feeling lazy, you might have not have had your gratitude practice for the day yet, and you're looking for that go-getter thing, that thing to get you going. And you don't want to stick in the bad habit of coffee, you have other methods. Cold showers.
Get that preacher going. Get your eyes closing and start preaching the gospel of cold showers.
Yeah, cold showers. And hop in there, make it a habit, you'll reap the benefits. And see, personally, like if I take a cold shower, I think more of the feeling afterwards of getting out of the shower rather than it kind of sucks going into it. You have like a little bit of anxiety going in there because you know what it feels like. You know that your body's going to be shocked. It's like kind of uncomfortable, I guess. And yeah, that's how it's going to be.
Dr. Jared, why on earth would you take a cold shower?
Benefits behind it. Feels good.
What are those?
Mental clarification. It gets your blood flowing, so it can help with recovery of your muscles and blood flow throughout your body. So that can also help your mind function at a better rate, more efficient rate. Can just like wake you up for your day,
Better sleep at all at night?
Apparently, yeah. I mean, it's more to be more efficient through your day. I guess it could probably help your sleep.
You could take a cold shower at night before bed and
Yeah.
optimize sleep levels.
Yeah. I think warm showers are actually better for night to like kind of warm your muscles and kind of like take the tension out.
Off your experience.
Well, I mean, that's what I've researched about.
I've also researched that cold showers are better for sleep, help you get a longer and better sleep.
Well, there we go. Looks like we're not reading the same books here. We need to get more in line with our content.
You know, you don't have to tell me about the book because I was there when it was written.
Huh?
It's a mindful quote that you should sit on a little bit.
Say it again.
No.
All right.
Just kidding. Just kidding again.
You should say it.
I said, you don't have to tell me about the book because I was there when it was written.
Which book?
The Bible.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. No, but just like any book, you know, it's a saying.
Oh, I haven't heard that saying.
Finley says it all the time.
Uh,
He makes me laugh.
fuck that guy.
Anyway, whoa.
Yeah. So, anyways, more on the discussion of mindfulness. So, cold showers. Try it out. It's something different. It's something that can change your comfortability levels, because if you just take warm showers, it can lead you on a comfortable path.
And if it was easy, folks, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Or throw yourself in like a cold lake, cold river, cold ocean, if you have that available to you. It can also shock the body.
So switching gears here, Jared. Off the top of your dome, what do you think is the most powerful, mindful quote you've ever heard in your life that you can lay down for us, or something that just stuck with you?
Yeah, you really hit it there.
It's okay.
Well, there's this one quote I really like from Mac Miller.
Interesting.
Yes, and he says, it's something along the lines of, "No need to stress about it. Take it one day at a time." That's something along. He says in one of his songs.
Very simple.
Yeah,
and very practical.
Yeah, take things one day at a time. There's no need to stress about the future or the past. Past's already happened. There's nothing you can do about that. I mean, you can take learning lessons away from it.
Yeah,
but the unknowingness of the future, that's the beautiful thing. And the only way you can change that future is by changing the present, by doing the most that you can with your present moment, with the present opportunities that you have. And yeah. How about yourself?
I got one too.
Yeah, go for it.
I forgot where I heard this, but it was the only competition in life that you have is basically you today against the you yesterday.
Yeah.
So just being better than you were yesterday. That's the only competition.
Not comparing yourself to anybody else.
Just you. It all starts with you.
Yeah.
You know? The casinos aren't the problem. It's you. The drugs aren't the problem. It's you. That's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, right?
The unhealthy amount of Nutella that you eat, it's not because of the Nutella.
And the unholy amount.
Because it's so flavorful and tasty.
The unholy amount of dirty, nasty ramen noodles could really hurt your heart.
Ramen noodles. Yeah. I mean, the stuff that goes into there. I've kind of retracted my eating habits of ramen noodles.
Sodium levels.
Yeah, it's not even the sodium levels though. It's like the stuff that they put it, like the bioengineered ingredients that they put in ramen noodles. Yes.
Like what? MSG?
Like the MSG or some other crap that I've heard.
I don't even know if they put that in there. Sounds.
I think they do put MSG.
Okay.
Not 100%, but either way, you're buying noodles for 60 cents. It's probably not healthy.
Very mindful.
Yeah. Anyways, what's another habit or another practice that can be applied when we're talking about self-development that can transfer energy, be more efficient, be more cognizant with your.
I think something that's underrated is probably avoiding blue light before sleep, like an hour. Put your phone down
Mhm.
an hour before you before you try to go to bed. So, like, reading is probably a really good way to self improve.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter what you read, just the act of reading information is so much different than looking at a screen on your phone. It gives the brain like a little breather, makes the brain think in a good way. I mean, a dopamine detox also, because people don't understand that looking at your phone, even at the slightest little Instagram post, gives spikes your dopamine, and it could be out of balance. And that's why people get depressed. People get sad.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And it's also the content that you put in before you go to sleep is what you will think about typically. So if you replace that blue light with, I don't know, yeah, like you said, reading the Bible, reading some goals that you set down and something you want to achieve, a plan that and how you're going to achieve it, something you want in life, some really good quotes, some poetry. Like there's a bunch of things that you can do to set your mind off into sleep and have good thoughts while you sleep, because it's over the course of a long time, and if you build that consecutive habit of doing that, then that is going to change the way your brain works. It's going to change the way that you wake up. It's going to change the way you sleep. It's overall going to help you out. So the blue light one is a really good one, because I fall bad into that sometimes. I know a lot of people do, because
Yeah.
people are addicted to their phones. But
More than ever, right? Think about 10 years ago. Like, you know how much social media you were looking at, or how often you were looking at your phone 10 years ago?
10 years ago, I didn't have a phone.
And then go back maybe 5 years ago. People still had, iPhones everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but they weren't looking at the amount of social media that they are nowadays. Because
Yeah,
we're talking
that's
six,
facts.
7, 8 hours of screen time a day. We're talking
Mongrels.
we're talking weeks of screen. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just it's so unprecedented because our society is ran basically by social media accounts. Because Instagram, Snapchat, Apple, all these companies combined are worth like $7 trillion. They're like the most expensive, most money making companies ever, and it's just
Most
because
profitable.
you know what their one common product that they get from us.
Um, our
I
time.
will be close. Our
Uh,
attention.
yeah,
They
attention.
steal our
I
attention.
was gonna say our
That
eyeballs.
was good though. That was pretty good. Yeah, our eyeballs. They take our attention just for our attention. They have ads, personal ads for us when we talk about things to try to grab our attention.
Mm-hmm.
And they have it. They have 8 hours of our attention a day. They
Mm-hmm.
have, weeks of like 60 hours a week on our phones, like screen time. And they are the richest of the richest. It's kind of scary that that's what's driving our, like, what are they investing in? You know what I mean?
What's facts?
What's their goals?
What's their
It,
goals?
they spend
Money.
right. They spend billions of dollars optimizing every little AI little ad to get your attention when you're scrolling on anything, to
Yeah.
get you to open the
Always
app.
looking for a more efficient platform, providing more money, get more people to view.
So, I mean, it's just you got to take a break from social
Yeah.
media.
And if you're not warned about it early on, like kids are getting Instagram accounts at 13 years old,
And
12 years old,
they're
and
coming
then boom, after that, it's gone.
and
It's
then
gonzo.
and they're going to school tired because they're up at night watching this shit. They're going to they're going
It's not
into
all kids, though. It's not all
it's not
kids.
all kids, but if you're gonna be a parent anytime soon, man, you gotta raise these little guys the right way.
What's your favorite like Instagram account to follow, or like Twitter account, whatever the case may be?
Um, that's a good question. Don't really use
I don't know,
Twitter.
one that you get knowledge from, you get value.
I think it's called Better Self Pill.
Better Self Pill. I think I've heard of that one.
It drops some Marcus
Marcus
Aurelius
Aurelius.
quotes here and there, some Stoic shit. Yeah, I like seeing that shit. I like reading it. A little quote of the day.
Yeah.
Healthy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it drops like a shout out for another page. It's kind of like a little scammy.
Yeah. And that's why, like, if you use it in the right way, if you use social media in the right way, then
Could elevate your life.
It could elevate your life. If you use things for beneficiary reasons, then you could, optimize your life, make it more efficient. But if you're doing it for the wrong reasons, which most do it for entertainment, and it's hard to get out of that habit. It's hard to not do it, but it is what it is. What can you do? Once the zombies turn to a zombie, can you change him back with the antidote? Yes.
Weakness potion and a golden apple. My Minecraft fans will know what that means. Huzzah, baby! Got him.
Anyways.
Got him, guys. Got him. Look at him
Yeah,
struggling. Look at him struggling over there.
Minecraft's a good game. It helps people out, I guess. Like, I mean, you can get addicted to it.
Builds creativity, for one.
To a certain extent, yeah.
To a very certain extent. To a good extent. Very extended extent.
It's pretty much like playing with building blocks.
Exactly. Creating what you imagine. That is a creative exercise.
You know what's even better, though? Roblox.
He's lying, guys. He's joking. He's just kidding. Don't listen to him.
You know what's even better? StarCraft 2.
What?
StarCraft 2, Call of Duty.
That's not that better.
Certain ones.
But yeah, if you guys want to join our Minecraft server, it'll be in the description. Jared is the admin of the server, and you can go have fun at his Minecraft house.
So anyways, back on to what we were discussing before. Healthy procedures, I mean, you can make them habits, but different things that you can apply to your life to change it up a little bit, to become healthier, to think more mindfully. And another one I think is big and very difficult to do is retreats. So it doesn't even have to be a full retreat where you go out into the wilderness, or you buy a cabin and you go out to that cabin, you spend like a week there. It can still be a day retreat to where you just camp out in your backyard, or camp out at a local park, camp out in the woods somewhere, and you're just there to kind of get away from everything. Whether it's meditation, whether it's just to be there by yourself with your thoughts, you need to think through something, just to get away from everything, get away from social media, get away from your phone, get away from other people, perhaps, because other people could influence you negatively. And even if people are influence you positively, it's still healthy to be with your own mind and to think through issues yourself.
So a day like that is a great example of a dopamine detox, because if you're going out into a peaceful area, you're just being with yourself. You're not listening to music, not hanging out with other people, not scrolling on social media. You're just with yourself. This is a big, groundbreaking barrier for some people to get through. It's a hard barrier to break through, because
you're going to be looked at as weird, probably, too.
People are afraid to be by themselves.
Yeah.
If you can't sit in a room by yourself in the dark, or it doesn't even have to be in the dark, but just in a room, and do nothing, completely nothing, think about nothing for hours on end, then you have a fear of being by yourself if you have to try to distract yourself. And all fear, you know where it comes from? Every fear, every addiction comes from fear of death. Dying. I mean,
yeah, if you want to elaborate on that, you can.
I will.
Okay.
I will. And here it is, folks. Fear of dying is the deep-rooted reason of why you're addicted to bad habits, of why you're afraid of being alone, and why you have to distract yourself from being bored, why you're afraid of trying to test out being born. It's because of fear of death. Because one day you're going to die, and all the things you do in this life just stem from that fear. So you do things that you you don't realize that are going to be bad for you in the long term.
Like if you're afraid of dying alone, like your relationships and stuff could come from that.
It's more
Like,
it's more the level of psychologically. One day you're not going to be here anymore.
yeah,
Your ancestors weren't here anymore. There's an age limit. People are dying. Life expectancy was at like a 65 at one point. Now it's at like 80, 90. But one day, you're not going to be here anymore. You're going to die that one day. Everybody
yeah,
knows that. You get told that as a little kid, that you're going to grow old and die one day. Or, you get told this thing.
hmm,
So in your brain, from movies, from your parents, from everything that you take it in, psychologically, you're going to die one day. And the way people cope with that, or their brains cope, they do things that they don't think is harmful or harmless, or they're afraid of just being by themselves,
yeah,
either for multiple reasons. It could be because they're wasting time, or they don't know what to do with their time. They're going to die. They're freaking out. It's a panic. I can't just stay still, because it all comes from the fear of death. Just your life being gone. That's all it is to it. It's deep. And I didn't think of it
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
Actualize.org came in and took the one on that one.
yeah. I mean, I think even just the concept of death is kind of fun to talk about, though, too.
Fun.
Yeah, you heard me.
How's that fun to talk about?
Why is it fun to talk about?
How?
Because it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. It's something that none of us really know, and it can just when you start to talk about death as well, and that's a part of stoicism, is getting comfortable with the thought of death, is contemplating death. They think it's a healthy habit, and you know, via discretion, whoever does think it's like a healthy habit, then more power to you. It can be if you look at it in a certain light, but just getting comfortable with the idea of death, I think taking away that fear can allow you to be a little more free in your daily life and thinking about it, be more comfortable with it. So, but yeah, it's also exciting just to think about, what is it really? Because it's looked at as a negative connotation a lot of the times, but is it really negative, or is it the most beautiful thing in the world? Who knows? It's all how you look at it.
Something isn't beautiful because it lasts. It's because it dies. And it was there for a moment.
Yeah. And the impact it made. So,
So when you die, are you going to leave an impact on this world, Jared?
yeah, I think everybody makes an impact. Even if you make it to like 2 years old, you still made an impact to somebody, you know?
Good answer. Good answer.
Everybody's got a place in the world.
Let's be real. After 200 years, no one's going to remember you at all.
Oh, yeah. Well, me specifically?
You specifically.
Oh, yeah. No, people will definitely remember me. In 200 years? For sure. My name's going to be somewhere on a wall somewhere.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like that answer. Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
Probably in the Museum of Neuroscientists.
But why?
Why?
Yeah.
I just said in the Museum of Top Neuroscientists.
Oh.
Changing the degree field, No, probably not, but somewhere it's going to be somewhere.
Why?
And my grandkids are going to remember the name.
Is that important to you?
Is that important to me? Not really. I don't really care if people know my name. How about yourself?
Well, folks, that's the end of the podcast, and we're going to leave it off at that cliffhanger, because you're going to have to watch the next episode for my answer. Dun, dun, dun. Why are you looking at me like that?
Have a great day, folks.
Do you want to say something else?
No. Just end it, Sean.
Whoa.